Okay, so this topic keeps. So I'm just watching people out the window. This topic keeps coming up, and I think I must have said the same thing like 3 or 4 times over the last few days. And either there's like some serendipity in terms of the people that need to hear this, and that's why it keeps coming up, or I'm just fucking obsessed with it. This is Francisca, and this is my mid-crisis life. Um, and I guess that's a really good place to start, right? Because I say all the time that we're constantly in crisis. That's the whole point of this, is that we don't have this one midlife crisis when we hit 40 or whatever around that age. And we make really bad decisions, you know. We leave our wives and buy Ferraris, go on holiday and have, you know, gratuitous sex with the 20-year-old, have gratuitous sex with the 20-year-old lifeguard or whatever. Actually, we're always mid-crisis. For me, anyway, what I've learned is that life is more about how you process and deal with those crises as they come up. Being mid-crisis doesn't mean that you have to be in crises all the time. It just is a recognition that there is always something that we are experiencing, and there are, you know, from one end of the spectrum to the other, there are various extremes of what that is. But by facing it head on and trying to find the truth, trying to seek out the truth for yourself within this crisis, allowing yourself to experience your emotions, not denying or distorting your reality as you go through it, but being honest. That honesty allows your emotions to come forward, because being dishonest or being in denial or distorting the truth is a way of kind of blocking needing to look at those things, needing to feel those things. And when we look at those things square on, more times it brings to the surface the emotion that comes with that truth. And I was talking to a couple of people about it the other day. It was like, okay, so I went to Costa Rica and I did ayahuasca like just over 3 years ago now. And before that, I'd already taken like 5 grams of mushrooms. And I mean, if you want to, there's so much research that you can find on the properties of psilocybin, the properties of DMT, and the other psychoactive components that are in these plant medicines, and how, you know, they impact neurogenesis. And maybe I'll speak about that another time, but it's not really what this video is about. So someone asked me the other day, like, oh, okay, because I explained to them all of this stuff about ayahuasca and my actual personal experiences, and I've got some fucking crazy stories that would just like blow people's minds about what I've experienced while I've been on ayahuasca. And just to make the point really quickly that it's not, it is psychoactive, so you do trip balls, right? But the reason that that's happening is because all of your neurons are firing at the same time, because you are making a choice to go through a process whereby you unlock trauma that is stuck in your brain and your body, and you re-experience that trauma simultaneously as the child in that moment. So you feel the emotions as the adult looking at it with some context that you didn't have as a child, as you in that moment watching you as an adult and a child going through these experiences, and then all of the aftercare, like all of the stuff that happens afterwards. And he was like, okay, so like, did that just cure everything? And I said, no, because everything is a practice, right? There is no one thing that can come from outside of you, or even really from inside of you, that is just this moment of salvation. where that's it, saved, cured, never need to think about it again. It's actually a practice, something that you have to choose to do every single day. And I said to him, well, actually, what happened when I took the ayahuasca for the first time, because it was an absolutely radical experience. I said it just was a big, fat, fucking neon sign, like signposting me to, hey, this is where some of your trauma comes from. And, you know, I knew it already because I'd analyzed it. And obviously, you know, most of people's trauma comes from their childhood, comes from the way that they were parented, comes from the decisions that we made as a kid about how we needed to survive, how we needed to be safe, how we needed to stay alive, because we were literally dependent upon our parents to look after us. So if we did not conform with whatever fucking crazy shit they think is normal, there's a very high likelihood that you will starve and die, right? So we were making all of these really vital decisions from a very young age with absolutely no context of why someone might treat us the way that they did. Oh, it's because I'm unlovable. So if I change enough, hopefully they will love me and they will feed me and they will keep me alive. What's my fucking point? So I understood where a lot of my trauma came from. But actually what it did is it allowed me to experience it on a really visceral level and understand, okay, it's not just the mind that is making sense of this. Like your heart is trying to and your body is trying to as well. I think that's a video for another day. What do I want to talk about today? I want to talk about what happened after I took ayahuasca. And the thing that I try to teach a lot of people about the process of actually changing behavior, actually changing your thought processes, actually changing your reactions to things so that you're not reactive, so that you become responsive, right? Because responsive is about being responsible for your decisions and for your the way that you manage the phenomena that's happening around you, right? So I know. I say to everybody that awareness is the key. Not awareness is key, because that means that it's quite important, right? No, awareness is the key. It is the key to unlocking all change, all evolution, all growth in any human being. Because if you're not aware of something, or that something is harmful, that something needs changing, that you want more, like if you're not aware and you're asleep, then it's never going to fucking change, is it? Because the change has to come internally. No one's going to come from the outside, like I said, and make that change happen. It is impossible. So taking ayahuasca made me aware. It gave me this beautiful sense of awareness. And I think on a really basic level, what that awareness does is it just irritates you, right? So now you know you do this thing that's really unhealthy. And the ayahuasca is beautiful because where you get to experience it again as a child, you also understand why you do it. Like, and you've got this real compassion and this real sense of like grace and forgiveness for yourself for this thing that you keep on doing, because you get where it comes from, right? But practically, essentially what happens is you just start to get a little bit fucking sick of it. You start to get sick of it. And what happens is that the more that you do it and the more that you're aware that you do it, you start to realize after the event, you start to say to yourself, fucking hell, I fucking did that thing again, didn't I? I fucking done that thing again. Oh my God, I've done that fucking thing again. And you're aware of it every single fucking time, to the point where you can't ignore it now. And what happens is because you're not distorting and you're not denying and you're not ignoring what's going on, you're being honest with yourself, you start then to realize it in the moment. So it goes from, oh, I just did that thing again that really annoys me, that I know is really unhealthy for me, to I'm literally doing that thing right now. Like I'm literally doing it as we speak. And it's okay, because you know what? Maybe you can't do anything about it in that moment in time. And that's cool. Like you don't have to. You just have to be aware that you're doing it right now. And what will happen is eventually you'll see yourself in the moment doing it so many times, yeah, that you'll get to understand the trends and the things, the triggers that lead to you doing that one particular behavior. Does someone say something? Does someone do something? Does someone look at you in a certain way? Do you have to be in a certain environment? Like, what are your triggers? Because you're noticing it and you're noticing the pattern. So what that leads to is you then being able to clock it before it happens. You being able to say, okay, I'm about to do that fucking thing that I do. I've clocked it. Like, I've seen all the triggers. I knew where this was going. I'm about to do that thing that I always do again. And again, you know what? Maybe you don't have the strength. Maybe you don't have the wherewithal. Maybe you don't have the skills or the tools, right? To make a difference in that moment, to stop yourself from doing it. But the awareness eventually will get you to the point where you're so fucking sick of doing it. You're sick of seeing yourself about to do this thing and fucking doing it anyway, yeah? That you will start to find ways, yeah, to circumvent that behavior. And because you've gone through the process of understanding that it's me, I just did that thing. I'm doing that thing now. I'm about to do that thing. You stop relying on your environment and other people to make those differences. You start looking inside yourself, right? So it creates a much longer, sustainable change because the change is internal. You're not saying when someone else does that thing, I react like this and there's fucking nothing I can do about it, because actually you realize it's not just that person. It's not just that statement. It's not just that moment. Actually, it happens here, 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 and here. And what it is that in that moment, I feel ashamed. And when I feel ashamed, I do this thing. And it really opens up this beautiful space where you can begin to start dealing with the root of the problem, so that the behavior, the thought process, the patterns, whatever it might be, change on a fundamental level. So inherently, as you move forward, having begun to address the deeper cause of it and taken the responsibility on yourself, as you move forward, it becomes more inherent. Your behavior becomes more automated in a way that's really healthy rather than automated in a way that's not healthy. So yeah, I don't know, man. If anybody's in that process, if anybody's going through that right now, that trying to like reverse engineer behaviors, let me know, man, because it's not fucking easy. And it's not easy to have grace for yourself and forgive yourself. And sometimes you need to be reminded that you're doing the work. And the work is just self-love. Okay. That's it. That's all from me.